Do I have time to read 6 or 7 extra books? No. So I decided, because I hate myself, but I also like feeling involved and have fear of missing out, that I would at least try to do the Contemporary-a-thon. It's hosted by Chelsea and Natasha and Julie, and I'll like attach their channels to my description or post it as like a top comment. But it's apparently like what, the 6th round of this that they've done, and it usually flies under my radar. Like, I watch the videos and they're interesting, but I don't read a lot of contemporary, and I learned that the hard way when I had to try to find something to read for this. I realized that I have a lot of fantasy and sci-fi. I have a lot of thrillers, which I know can technically still be contemporary, but once a contemporary gets like murder mystery or kind of like weird stuff happening, it changes genres for me. So it's kind of hard for me to put that as contemporary. Like, you could probably assume Ruth Ware's Turn of the Key is a contemporary thriller, but it would just seem like a thriller to me, right? And I have some of these are like contemporary romances, and I'm even kind of torn on putting those in there. But we'll get to my actual TBR list in a minute. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the books that I've pulled out for the challenges before I introduce the challenges, because a lot of the books they can cover multiple challenges. And I don't think I'm going to get to all these books. Like, I absolutely and 100% doubt that. But maybe I'll get to like 1 or 2 of these, and some of these can cover like almost the entire list. So if I can just get that one done, I'll feel pretty good about it. But here, let me introduce you to the books that I've chosen. The first book in my pile is Taylor Jenkins Reid, One True Loves. This is a contemporary romance. It's got a little bit of a mystery element to it because it's about Emma and Jesse, who are high school sweethearts, and they get married, and on their year anniversary, Jesse goes missing. Well, she moves on, difficult, but she moves on in her life and gets engaged to a new guy named Sam, and oops, Jesse comes back. So I think that kind of, not really a love triangle, but it is a love triangle. There's 3 parts. Is interesting, and I think that mystery and her choice is going to be compelling enough to read this. So that is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The next thing I have is the only one I'm like super iffy about, if it actually counts, but it's Salvage the Bones by Jessamine Ward. It takes place during Katrina, but I've really been looking at what a contemporary is, and as long as it's not a historical fiction novel, I think it should count. I don't consider this historical fiction, because if I have to think about the fact that I lived through Katrina and it's considered historical fiction, I will lose my mind. But I probably won't put it at the top of my list because of that. I really hate to, because I really like Jessamine Ward's writing, and there's some people reading this for a feminist class at school now, and so I'd be able to talk to them about it. I think it would be neat, but because it might not actually be a contemporary, I don't know if I can include it. But anyway, it's about a family who breeds and raises dogs in New Orleans, and the anticipation of Katrina. And apparently it does take place like a day at a time, like getting ready for Katrina. And I'm sure it's going to be pretty hard hitting, and I do like the things I've read from Jessamine Ward in the past. I've read articles by her and like short stories, but never a full-length novel. But that is Salvage the Bones by Jessamine Ward. The next book on my list I just got for Christmas from Gina, and it's Spare Town by Frederick Bachman, and it is about a small town that's obsessed with their hockey team, and some drama happens. I believe it involves sexual assault, and it's how the town copes with this happening. But it would be really interesting to read. It is also a big boy, so this also might not be at the top of my list, but I haven't decided yet. The next book on my list is one I've been wanting to read for a long time, so it might be a contemporary romance, but it's an excuse to read it, and it's The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I just needed really an excuse to read this book. It's about two guys, a girl and a guy that don't really like each other and work together, and that's all I need to know about it, because I love enemies to lovers. I'm a simple woman. The last one is one I just saw in a list of, like, I had to help myself find diverse books that weren't sci-fi and fantasy. Like, I don't have a lot of contemporaries in general, so then the contemporaries I do have are like backlist contemporaries. And so I found this on a list of diverse, like, young adult contemporary novels, and it's called It's Not Like It's a Secret by Misa Sugira. I feel like I'm going to pronounce that wrong, but it's about a girl named Sana Kigahara. She's 16 years old, and she's just moved to a new high school, and her best friend there is Jamie Ramirez, and she's got a crush on Jamie. and a boy named Caleb has a crush on her, and Jamie's ex is in the picture, and it just feels like fun YA drama with a cute female-female romance, and it's not too big, and my library had it. So this cover, I really like this cover, is from my library. So this might be one of the first ones I read just because I know it's due on the 17th. So that'll get me to get it done so I can get it checked back in. But that is, it's not like it's a secret. All right, so now we're going to go challenge by challenge. I'm going to show you the books that I have that can fill that challenge, because that is how I'm going to survive this, by reading like 1 or 2 books that accompany like the whole thing. They cover it all. The first is a contemporary with a green cover. Well, I have 4 options in varying shades of green. It could be any one of these books. Literally the only book on my list that does not have a green cover is It's Not Like It's a Secret. So I'm covered with the green cover. That was redundant. The next challenge is a new to you author, and I also have 4 available for that one. The only book that's on my list that is not a new to me author is Jessamine Ward, and if I wanted to play fast and loose with the rules, I technically haven't read any of her books, so it could be a new to me like novelist. I'm not going to get picky. I've got 4 choices. I don't actually need to include that one in there, but anyway, that's a new to you author. The next challenge is a diverse book. I only have 2 for those, and it's Salvage the Bones, and It's Not Like It's a Secret. So that's why I'm thinking I may have to go ahead and start with this one, not only because of the due date deadline, but because if this doesn't count, then this is the only diverse read I have. The next challenge is a dark or hard-hitting contemporary novel. I think I only have 2 more for these. Again, without knowing any more about the plots of those, I think that Salvage the Bones and Beartown are going to be the 2 books that have hard-hitting or dark topics, because again, this one is about sexual assault, and this is about a poor family trying to escape Hurricane Katrina. So they're going to be pretty heavy. There's not going to be a lot of lighthearted like happiness in these compared to like the 3 romances that I've got over here. The next challenge is an illustrated cover. I have 3 options with that because, you know, all of these are illustrated in different ways. That one even has cute illustrations in the back. So I can pick from any of these for an illustrated cover. So the last challenge is a book that's beloved by the community, and you're supposed to shout that that person out. Well, I have 2. I picked The Hating Game because I know Chelsea loves it. She's got like 3 different covers of it. And I think Murphy likes Beartown. I know she doesn't really get involved in these reading challenges, but like I think this is one that she's really talked highly of. So either one of these could probably count. The Hating Game more so, and I am anticipating this one most, and I'll probably try to fit this one in, but I think either of these could work. The other ones I've never really heard about. I mean, obviously we've heard of Taylor Jenkins Reid because of the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is another one I haven't read. But the other ones haven't specifically been mentioned by anyone that I follow in the community or involved with, mainly because a lot of these are backlit, because that's like all I've got. I don't keep up with like the trends, so I don't know what's new and popular and like talked about in the community. But anyway, those are the choices that I've got. I will update you probably at the end of next week on whether I have successfully gotten through the challenges or not, because you could see a couple of those work for like 3 or 4 of them. I also got King of Crows in the mail the other day, so I will probably spend my weekend up to Contemporary-a-thon powering through that book and probably crying. Anyway, looking forward to it.